What's going on, guys? Wrestle Chat News here. Today we're going to be talking about WWE The Raw after WrestleMania. To start off, we had Stephanie McMahon, and she introduces her new friend, Ronda Rousey. Ronda apparently broke her arm, and her wrist seemed to be, messed up from the previous night. And, basically, they had this hug segment, and then Ronda worsened her injury. I think that's basically just to write her off TV till around SummerSlam. There's going to be a lot tonight where it's just like storyline progression and towards moving to new rivalries. After that, we had Nia Jax come out, then Alexa Bliss and Mickie James come out. They announced that it was going to be a tag team match, so we knew someone was going to come out. I thought that it was going to be Ember Moon, and it did happen. But they did a bad job during the match, having Nia look dominant. She didn't look dominant enough. It was too much Bliss in control till Moon came in. And it did a good job with Moon showcasing and beating Bliss. Next, we had Angle in a hilarious backstage segment with Braun and Nicholas. And they vacate the titles because Nicholas has a conflicting schedule. And because he's only in the 4th grade. And when he's old enough to come back, he'll win the titles again. A really, really funny, really good segment. And my initial concern was, when this happened, who was going to win the titles off of Braun? Because they built him up so much, and it wouldn't seem right to have him just lose out of nowhere to a tag team after they completely squashed the division. So having them vacate the titles made a lot more sense, and it did a great job to showcase other tag teams and reestablish the division. Next we had No Way Jose versus John Skyler. Basically a way to showcase No Way Jose in a quick squash match. The Bar will fight in Saudi Arabia for their titles in their rematch with the rematch clause. I think we're going to see them versus Matt and Bray, which is really unfortunate because I think the Revival deserve it. But it wouldn't make any sense for Bray and Matt to lose because right now they're going to keep pushing the storyline for a little while until it kind of dies down. So it doesn't make sense right now for them to switch off of that plan. Next we had Galanderson versus Revival, and Revival won the match, and they'll move on in the competition. Rollins, Balor, and Miz with the Miztourage promo. There was a lot of respect from Balor and Rollins about Miz's daughter, which was really funny. I thought the segment was hilarious, especially when they started talking, when Miz was like, "You made my little princess cry." I was dying laughing when he said that. I was like, dude, she's 2 weeks old. Then Miz talks about how he cried. Rollins roasted him completely. Just goes, yeah, that's how the fans feel whenever they see one of your matches. And then Jeff Hardy came out to stand tall with Rollins and Balor. It was nice and shocking, and then they announced that the 3-on-3 will be the main event of the show. Banks versus Mandy Rose. Bayley came out after the entrances and accidentally punched Sasha during the match. Basically, storyline progression there, keep the feud going. But then you had Rose pin Banks, and then Paige formally retired and announced her injury, which they kept off TV for a while. They just kept it to the wrestling internet community. Next, Elias came out. He did what Elias does, and when he heard the first initial Walk with Elias chant, his eyes were just lit up, and he was in absolute awe, and it was a really, really funny moment. And this was the perfect crowd for Elias. He's literally getting better each week, and it's hard to say that because every week he just looks so good, and it's amazing that week after week he comes out and he cuts these promos, and just every week he's getting better with toying with the crowd. Then Bobby Lashley came out, and I'm not going to lie, I knew he was going to come out tonight, but I'm surprised they did it against Elias. They gave Elias Taker Cena the night before. He keeps getting all these big spotlights, even though he looks weak in them. It just shows that they have a lot of confidence in him and his ability on the mic, to where they don't really need to where they keep putting him in these high-stakes situations, and it's really, really good for him because he's getting his name out there against guys like Lashley and Taker and Cena. But it hasn't made any progress. Like, he didn't have a match at Mania, so what they do from here on out is going to be very, very interesting to see. Owens and Zayn with Kurt backstage, and Kurt says TNA is hiring, which was an absolute great line. Never expected them to say TNA on live camera. Then he announces that KO and Zayn will fight later tonight for a contract on Raw. Slater and Rhino announced that they're going to do a match because Slater's got kids, got to pay the bills. Even though he probably just got like a $50,000 check for being in the Battle Royal. But anyway, then the Authors of Pain come out and absolutely demolish them. Later on, Reigns vs. Lesnar will take place at the greatest Rumble ever for the WWE Universal Championship in a steel cage match. Reigns comes in. Reigns' song hits, and you already knew the boos were coming right after the Raw after Mania. But they weren't as bad as last year, which was, I guess, kind of a good, still bad, but good. Then you could see Reigns' head was cut wide open. He announces Lesnar not here tonight, and then Reigns cuts this really good promo on how the company disrespects him and how he has this conspiracy theory and how they show too much respect to Lesnar even though he's a part-timer. And they're trying to give him this Daniel Bryan underdog storyline even though he's not really an underdog whatsoever. And I think this is where they should have ended the promo, just had him go backstage. But they did what I thought was the worst thing they could have done in what was a great segment, where Samoa Joe returns and cuts a great promo on how Reigns failed and how he can't beat Lesnar. Absolutely fantastic promo for Joe, but in the end, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good to see that they did so much work over this past year trying to make Reigns the big dog and make him loved by the universe, and they have Samoa Joe, who's just as loved, come out and basically bash him. Just wasn't good. Storyline wise, was it a fantastic segment? Absolutely. But it would have been better if Reigns was just a heel already. Titus Worldwide versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Hardy and Wyatt look like a fantastic team. Together they really had some good moments. I like the Sister Abigail into the Twist of Fate. And what I really like about those two moves is it's kind of interchangeable. You could have the same exact thing happen in a way. Like you could have Matt look like he's going to do the Twist of Fate and then just toss him up into Wyatt for Wyatt to hit Sister Abigail. So you could really switch the two around, which I think is really cool between the two of them. But yeah, I think Matt pinned Apollo, and they'll face the Revival next week. Next, we had Kevin Owens versus Zayn, and what ended up happening was a double DQ. Neither get the job. Fair enough. Superstar shakeups next week. I'm sure they're both going to end up being on Raw. Not going to be surprised. We have Jet, Matt, and Bray with a backstage promo, which I thought was really funny. If you're a fan of the Broken Universe, it would have been very entertaining. Especially to see them teasing that they'll be a trio in the future. But then you have Balor and Rollins looking on like, what was that? Like, what just happened? Pretty fairly funny comedy skit. Hardy, Balor, Rollins. Hardy, Balor, and Rollins will verse The Miz and The Miztourage in the main event. Rollins ends up pinning The Miz again. Very good. Good that Rollins got the pinfall. I don't know if I would have had him pin Miz again after pinning him the night before, but he's already fairly credible. He's been in the business for a long time. It's not going to damage him. Throughout the night, keep hearing about the Superstar Shakeup coming next week for 2 days, and we'll see what happens. I think later this week, I have 2 videos I might come out with. I'm gonna space them out in one of 2 ways. Either gonna do my predictions for who's gonna get drafted on Thursday or Friday. I might let me know down below if you guys want to see this, but might do a fantasy booking for how I would have booked the triple threat match for the IC title, and what I would have done from there on to build towards future rivalries versus what they did. So let me know down below if you guys want to see that. That would be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure to leave a like, comment, and make sure to subscribe. Check out my Twitter. It's been on the page this entire time, but the link will be down in the description. Thank you guys very much. See you guys later.